if I am, I'm funny enough it's still entertaining. So fingers crossed for everyone. Yeah, good morning, everyone. If it's early, if it's late, good morning, good evening, good night type of thing. I'm Danielle Moon. I am the founder of what is called Women in Power, which was it's basically a grassroots group of women who wanted to embrace the power platform. I was at a Microsoft internal event. I'm a seller at Microsoft as well for business solutions, is what we're calling now the Dynamics and Power Platform space. And over a year ago, I just kind of found that I was in a room and had some amazing talent around me. But unfortunately, when I looked around, I said, let's get a picture of all the women. It went from like a group of like 80 to maybe about 9. And those 9, I actually didn't even have such a great relationship with. And I was like, okay, if we're going to have like this smaller group, then I should probably have a better narrative of who these women are and what they're trying to do and how I can help their story. So that's kind of where Women in Power was born. And today, where now the community is a little over 16 in another group that we have. So all in, we're maybe 3,000 worldwide. Grassroots again, all volunteers. And a lot of it's coming from the dynamic space as well. Bobby and I had this great conversation where I said, there's this like transition of what I'm seeing with women in this group. And a lot of them started as someone who was handed SharePoint. And they were like, okay, yeah, I'll figure this out. And then they were like, oh, by the way, also like dynamics. And they're like, yeah, okay, I can figure that one out. And now it's Power Platform, and you're like, even extended. So it's kind of fun to see the evolution of where this is going and the talent that's going along with it. So yeah, in short, that's who I am. Very excited to be here.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Women in Dynamics. So, let's dig deeper into what the mission is and what you do to support it and what we can do to support it.
Yeah, of course. So we kind of have 3 pillars within our group. So we have really gotten most of our attention on the mentoring program, something that I found early in career that those who have mentors exceed far, far further than those who are just kind of out there on their own island. And so one thing we really wanted to bring to the table was an opportunity for women to have a space where they could get a mentor, but they could also be a mentor. And so we've got both of those going. We're on our 3rd cohort, and this last cohort was about 100, which is huge. It's one of those things where if anyone's seen the movie Bridesmaid and she's like, my comfort level with the golden retrievers was like 4, but she has a car full of like 8. That's kind of how we feel at this point in time. But we're doing it. And so, yeah, so our mentoring program, we run it in 3-month cohorts. That way you have enough time to get to know each other. And then some people find 3 months was enough. Like it's a seasonal type of thing. And others are finding it's a lifeline and they continue on outside of our program. So we offer that portion. The other pillar is going to be around skilling. How do we make skilling approachable? How do we make it so that you feel comfortable being like, I can't find that button, and not feel like you're just like failing? And so we have the Skilling Up program, which we've actually partnered with Microsoft's Power Up. If anyone has been through that program or has seen anything on that, yeah, we have cohorts that run alongside them. We're actually going to be expanding on our framework with Skilling Up, so look forward to that. And then last but not least is networking. One of the, again, like areas is just getting people to know each other can advance you so much further. I am absolutely the believer of it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think if you ever looked at my resume early on, they'd be like, yeah, not going to hire this person. But I had someone who said, no, trust me, she looks not great on paper, but like get her in the door. She'll be fine. I always said the best compliment I could get was to be called the personality hire. So with that, that's kind of the other side of it. It's just simply building the network, building who knows someone who knows somebody, and strengthening that. So that's kind of where we are. We have so much more that we're trying to do. We're a little over a year old, so we're still very new. I tell everybody I'm willing to try everything. I'm willing to publicly fail if it means that we can all succeed. So that's kind of where we are with the group right now.
And how does it look as far as the mentors? I know
Yeah.
Doug. I kind of rolled through those opening slides, but Doug is supporting a community mentorship program, and I think we've had really good luck and good success at getting mentors, but the mentees have been more of a concern. Do you have any? Is there one or the other that you're struggling with, or are they both, like you said, kind of filling the filling the bucket? To the point where you're a little bit, in that kind of perfect level of uncomfortableness.
I would say we need more mentors always. Having that guiding light of somebody who is willing to share what they've learned and be vulnerable to help somebody else is huge, and that's usually where we need to work a lot more on. On the mentee side, we are good. We have, but what's nice is that with our 3 month cohort, the surprising piece has been some of the women who went through as a mentee turned around and signed up as a mentor the next cohort because they got so much value out of being the mentee that they're like, okay, I need to pay this forward. How to, and I get a lot of women who are like, I've never been in this position. I've never been in leadership. I don't know what I can share. And I'm like, the thing that you always have to remember is even if you don't perceive your job as something high level or exciting, it might be somebody else's dream job. So don't discount that might be on somebody's list of, oh my gosh, this would be amazing if I could achieve this. And so I love our executive people. I love when we get somebody who is like Sonia in here, who's the VP of Power Automate. Like that's always so cool. But that is also a one percenter. There's not everybody who is going to arrive to the point where they're the VP of all of Power Automate for Microsoft. Um, so I like to make sure that we also resonate with people who are in more of the achievable daily jobs that are out there and what that can bring to their lives.
And I know this, it's kind of a good segue. I know that I saw Marie pop in, and I've heard her talk about this, and we've talked about this together. That, what defines a person in tech or a woman in tech, it does, like you said, it doesn't have to be that highest level job or a coding job or something that's super
Yeah.
technical. There's lots of variations of what people do in technology now, including SharePoint, which is highly technical when you get down to it. There's a lot that can be done when you dig
Yeah.
into it, as a starting point. I had a quick question about just in general the mentorship. Is it all female? Do you invite men to come in and mentor, or is that something
Yeah.
that would be acceptable if the fit was right? Just you wanted to understand
100%. Yeah. So
how
our
that
mentees,
dynamic looks, and how comfortable
yeah.
is it? How comfortable are your mentees, perhaps even like being the one person that gets the one dude that showed up to be a mentor?
No, great question. So our mentees, we keep we try just to have the mentees be the women. And the number one thing I get on the men who want to be mentors is, I have a daughter. I need to be part of this. I need to help make a change. And so a lot of them are very empathetic. And so we do a lot. And it's the funniest thing because I have one guy who's like army level, gruff as can be, and he's like, I got 3 daughters, and I'm like, you're in. Like, we need this spirit. And so yes, we try to make contact with every single one of our mentors to make sure that they align, and that they're a good fit. And we do very much encourage feedback. And when you do your intake, if you specify, then we do our best to also do the right kind of match fitting. So as we've now gone 3 cohorts and every single time we're changing something slightly different, we're learning something, and then we're trying to quickly implement it by the next cohort. So
Hmm.
that was one of the things that we've actually seen. I tell my story that I have 3 big brothers in Microsoft. Okay. They keep me humble because my ego sometimes gets outrageous. And so they like to make sure that I eat humble pie. And but that is that we all come from oil and gas, so we have a very unique dark humor perspective of life, but I wouldn't be at Microsoft if I didn't have one of them opening the door for me. So I never wanted it to be women empower, we hate men. It was more women empower, how do we just make sure that everyone is being seen? How do we make sure people's stories are being told? And there's very much a need for men in that space as well. So absolutely, having allies makes us even more successful because we keep that viewpoint there.
Yeah, that's important. Again, it was a couple years ago now, but it was Marie and a women in technology luncheon that I was attending. That it was very, there was very few men in the room. One at every 10 table, maybe. It wasn't a ton, and what was one of the things that Marie talked about was, how do we keep building the allyship out too? It's
Yeah,
not that it becomes but just you need all those pieces in place. I think at an organization to really
100%.
make the organization to build that equality and that true diversity in, so that everybody is on the same page.
Yeah, and it's realistic.
Yep.
If I can interject, it's improving. I was on a women in tech panel back in 2018. It was a luncheon. There were 4 or 5 of us on the panel. We had a moderator, and basically 2 guys showed up.
Yeah. Oh no. So I just did the European Power Platform conference, which was amazing. To be in Austria, just kind of see a different viewpoint. Not that Vegas is not so pretty, but having the European Power Platform side of it, we had our own panel luncheon, and I want to say about 180, and we were getting to the point where we were out of registration, and I had someone say, like, are we going to ask the guys to leave? And I was like, no. I am not going to walk around and be like, you need to go. I was like, they're a very important part of our journey and our story, and so we need to keep that relationship going and coaching. And here's the other fun kicker: is we're the smaller amount, so why would we ostracize the people who have the jobs and the opportunities to like not invite them into the space? So yes, again, I think it's the equality side of it, and we had probably at least 20 guys show up for the session, which was amazing. And I was getting messages of like, hey, can I be in this? And I was like, oh my God, you actually feel awkward walking in the door. How can we show you how it's done? And we made sure to like not have closed circles, right? Because that's the worst thing. And when I come into a room and it's like all guys and they're doing the closed circle, I'm like, how do I penetrate this? Like, I've learned to just be awkward, to just get into the circle. Yeah, I know. I'm like, hello, hello, I'm here. But that's not everybody's personality type, right? Shocked to none, I'm actually an introvert. But it's one of those things, like, find your way to be successful. But anyways, it's great to model, coach, and care how, when you're not the majority, how do they feel when they walk in the door? Are we making sure that we're not continuing the wrong bad behavior? Are we showing so that next time when they walk in the room and they see certain behaviors, they're helping to course correct that as well?
Yep. It's a good point. I was also tentative at this first event. And it was one of the first, kind of, I have 2 daughters, by the way. So
Yeah.
I felt that, I felt that on my entire career. I've shared this a number of times with folks in this group. It was fun to see it. And I know it's evolved so slowly, but it was fun for me as an IT hiring manager. I worked in a department where I was able to start seeing, female candidates come into the pool.
Yeah.
And then ones that were really confident, that had gone through this kind of the new layers of building this confidence through folks like you and communities that are coming together to make it more accessible. So it's always been a thought, but I was tentative to go to the event. I did ask, hey, is it okay if I would love to, be an ally and learn how best to be an ally, but I can't do that. I need to kind of, see. And I was happy that they were like, yeah, sure, definitely. This is a great place for you to be. And let's bring you in. And I wanted to also comment on your closed circle. Something I just found out a few year ago or so, a term called a bagel versus a croissant, and that's the way that's the way you present at an event like this, whether or not it's all male to a female, but it's more impactful that way. But yeah, if you're in that circle talking, make sure you always are kind of conscious of what's around you and who's around you, and open up and stay open to that ability to let that circle grow, and that becomes a bigger a bigger croissant instead of a closed teeny bagel. And so that I love that call out. It's just a great way to network in general, so that you're inclusive for anybody wanting to get in the conversation, because it is tough. Like I said, like, you are easy. You might just bust in and and break out a dance in the middle of the circle to get attention, and I might as well. But there are a lot of folks who aren't quite at that level, but do want to integrate. So
Yeah,
I
and if
do
you're an
appreciate it.
introverted person who doesn't do the break-in, make eye contact with somebody in that group. You'll find the one person who's going to be like, "Hey, come here." Don't be afraid to, like, that person's going to be intimidating, more than likely, but it's good intentions most of the time, and that's how you can also, kind of find out who your people are in that room real quick.
Yeah. Is the mentoring program structured like, so you've got, hey, I'm
Yeah.
a mentor, and here's kind of the things we have to accomplish through the process, or is it built, or do you also have room to build one-on-one relationships as well? I assume that would be an organic piece of it.
Yeah, so we again, learning as we go. Shravani is one of our leads. Sharon is another. Keith is another. So we've actually expanded our leadership team, so we have even more input going into this. But the 3 months, we kind of give you a loose understanding of what you're wanting to do, and really, it's setting the expectations. And so one thing that I love about Women in Power is most of the people on our leadership team has actually never had a leadership position before. So we're a bunch, newbies, and it's a lot of women who are like, "Well, I've never been up for management." And I'm like, "I'll give you a leadership role. Like, let's go for it. You're terrified, excellent. Let's lean into that."
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun because at the beginning we had no structure, and then we realized we probably need to have a little bit more. So now it's more in the setting of, hey, your first meeting, you're going to decide what your goals are. You're going to kind of discuss what that is. Another thing that we found was just lacking was women getting a stage. And so we've now added in on Fridays, you can come and you can talk about whatever you want. You can choose to have 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And I have women who talk about tech. I have women who talk about being an introvert. But whatever it is, it's helping to work on public speaking. It's helping to work on just raising your hand and saying, I'm willing to do something terrifying. And so through the mentoring program, we kind of have two levels of just personalized care, and you work with whatever your personal goal is with your mentor. And then you also have a community and a cohort that is also seeing you grow through that. So I have some women who present very early on, and they're the first to raise their hand. And then they actually present again at the 3 month period. And it's amazing to see the change and how they go about what they're doing. They maybe didn't do a presentation the first time around, but at the end they've got presentation skills down, or for deck building or whatever the case is. So we kind of let you choose your own adventure, but keep a little bit of a guardrail to help you be successful and make sure you're getting something out that's tangible at the end.
Yeah, it sounds really really well supported, which is good. I think that, like I said, it's one of the harder things is getting to something. You're already taking a risk, and you're maybe feeling vulnerable, but getting in there and feeling that support has got to be really satisfying to get in and start to feel kind of feel your confidence grow and your power grow.
Yeah, and I think our biggest success again is that a lot of our mentees turn around and become a mentor, which makes me like, okay, we didn't terrify you enough the first time around. You'll spend another 3 months with us. Like that's that itself is great to see.
That is, yeah. I was looking real quick. Just wanted to drop. Maybe you can do it quickly. Just, is there the website? How do folks that are on that haven't joined?
Yeah.
Because I know a bunch of people. I've mentored some folks through TechFluent, through other places, and when I found Women in Power as an opportunity for mentorship and growth, had shared that out. I know somebody that's gone through the power up portion of it with y'all, and
Yeah.
and getting ready to start this cohort coming up. So, if we have it, let's drop it in there for sure. Yeah.
I just dropped the LinkedIn
Oh,
link
good.
into the
Yeah.
chat.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and we announced our next cohort. We just kicked off one, so we've got 2 months for that one, to 2 more months left in that one, and then we start a bench basically early on because it has been growing so much, and like I said, we do kind of group intakes, so that way you're kind of setting the stage. Some women we had that were just looking for a job, and that's okay. Like that can be part of your mentoring journey is I'm looking to break into this, and that's what you get mentored for 3 months on. What does a resume need to look like? How do I get through an interview? What certifications should I be thinking of? Like that itself can be your goal. And then others are, I want a promotion, or I got laid off. What do I do now? That's another real popular one that we get a lot of women who are like, okay, I got laid off. The other one is I stayed home with kids for 4 years. Now what? So anyways, there's so many different opportunities within there. And so as soon as we have the next one, just start signing up, and then we start doing intakes to kind of make sure we're aligning you with the right kind of people.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I had another question that popped up, but I've been asking a lot of questions. Anybody else have any questions? I have heard from Miri. She is running late, but is texted in and will be joining us soon. So while we're
She's
waiting,
here, Bobby. She's in the
she
chat.
is. Oh, good, perfect. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, we've been chatting.
Oh, great. Yeah, I was watching to see if she came in. Perfect. Yeah. Anyway, I think that if you haven't seen this program, like I said, I've seen it in action with people I've been mentoring, and it's great. And with the passion behind what Danielle's given us here, I can't imagine that the program's going to be any less passionate than that. So, anything else, Danielle, to share about the Women in Power movement, or anything else you're doing?
We do have one question, or
a
comment question.
Yeah.
Britt is interested. She loves the idea of monitoring, but she's not sure what the structure is like or what the time commitment is like.
Yeah, and we get that a lot. The unknown is terrifying. What we have structured is 3 months engagements. So that way you have kind of a time box, and it's a little bit intense for 3 months, and then you can kind of breathe if you need to. We have it structured where you're at least meeting every other week with your mentee. And then again, we have Friday showcases. So that is about what you're typing in. But it is also one of those things where if you want to meet every week, you can. We don't hold back on that. We just do kind of like a bar setting of at a minimum every other week, and try to do at least one showcase as a goal point. But we've also had some unique opportunities starting to come up where someone's like, I can't do 3 months. Like 3 months is too much. How do I still throw some impact in there? So we are going to be introducing mentoring rings so that you can actually have it and say like, hey, I have 2 hours to give, and we can actually structure a mentoring ring for 2 hours that week. And you just kind of do Q&A. Someone's like, hey, I want to do a promotion. How do I do this? Blah, blah. You answer it that one time. And maybe you develop a relationship. Otherwise, you're just someone who's experienced helping somebody else who's not as experienced. And then it's a one and done type of thing. So we are trying to expand that to better hit the time commitments, because 3 months is a lot. Life happens. So. Oh yeah, no, I'm in sales. Like I came from the technical side, but I'm not coding anything. And what we actually find is a lot of our women are technical, and they need soft skill hopes and dreams of like, I call it the how to human. I have some of the most amazing programming women, and then and then they're like asking questions. And I'm like, how do we human? Like, how do we human through this? How do we read the room? And the soft skills are actually something that we then stress on. Then we also do have women who are way more technical and want to get even deeper on their technicalities. And so we also have that partnership too.
It sounds like you would do something along like what TechFluent does. Like if you're hitting all notes, if you have a person who wants to be mentored who's in sales, and you've got a person who wants to mentor who's in sales, boom, What a great connection. So you've got soft skill opportunity as well as relevant, work related
100%.
skill. Yeah. So if you got a programmer, just you can really find some those matches really hum well. Like when you can find that connection, that just kind of kicks it up a notch and really, helps both sides to get the most out of that relationship and that time together.
Well, and we also call it the spicy mix, right? So like, sometimes I actually like to say, put someone in sales with someone technical, because they'll actually learn from each other. So sometimes our mentor-mentee relationships result in both of them becoming mentor-mentees to each other. And that's like the most humble brag I can have for it, is that they both needed a little checkpoint of, oh, I'm not communicating effectively. I thought I was great with people. And the other person's like, you're not speaking my language. And they have to think through, like, how do I get somebody in the technical space like, oh, I'm not going to be painting a picture. I need to talk realistically. Oh, they don't do well with hypotheticals. How do I ground this? And so the salesperson actually has to learn a new way of storytelling, and the technical person needs to actually be able to guide that soft skill. So that sometimes happens too, and I think that's some of the most beautiful times. Some of my favorite people are ones that I jokingly say they don't human well. They eat pizza and drink beer well in a dark room, and can code like magicians. But yeah, like the storytelling piece of it, yes, like storytelling is a make or break, I think, in life. And if you can get the ability to be able to captivate people and want them to actually listen to you, you can talk about rainbows and sunshine and people will still be like, that was an amazing conversation.
Danielle, is this set to a specific time zone, or is that something that gets agreed upon between the mentor and mentee?
Great question. We match based off of your location. So we one of my proudest points is that we are not just in the U.S. Because as a Texan, we don't do well with sharing with others, and I wanted to make sure that it was not just a Texas represented group. So we are actually worldwide. We have representation across the globe, and we do try to pair up on time zones unless someone says, "Hey, I actually really enjoy late nights. I'm okay taking this other time zone."
And what about, do you have an outline that's readily available that kind of outlines the program?
I can share our framework one. I can ask Shravani to send that over, and we have like a little booklet type of setup.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And by the way, at every networking event going forward, I will be selling the Spicy Mix Networking Team T-shirt. All proceeds to go to Women in Power. I love that. That's the one, that's the one takeaway, saying I'm bringing with me, the Spicy Mix. I love it. Because you're not wrong. I've learned as much from my mentee as I've probably given them, in different ways, culture and lots of other things that I wouldn't have thought of that made that relationship beneficial. When you put in what you get out, you get out of it what you put into it, and that was that was just a great way to couch it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Danielle.
We have a question from Lucy here, real quick.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Hi guys. So this is my first one of these, and I'm sorry if the question sounds a little bit naive, but is this something that you pay for, and how much does it cost, and what are the skills being taught? I just want to understand.
Yeah, of course, Lucy, great question. So we have no cost to it, because we wanted to make sure, again, I have a lot of women who are entering the workforce or coming back or have been laid off. So I didn't want to put a financial burden on top of that and a barrier to entry. And then from the skills side, for Women in Power right now, our main focus is going to be on Power Platform. So it's going to be Copilot Studio for those looking to do AI and all the if you've not heard AI, it's kind of this thing, that everyone's talking about with Copilot, because, Microsoft loves our marketing people, and we name 17 things Copilot, but we do Copilot Studio, and we do Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Pages. So those are our main things. We have a few that do Power BI, but there's a lot of data and AI groups, and so we kind of found the other ones are our main focus.
So I'm not like a business person. I'm a therapist, but
Yeah.
I've also done virtual therapy with my children, and I find that they really enjoy it. And I use platforms and online games and all kinds of things. And I know AI is going to be everywhere. So my skills are I guess I don't really have skills like you guys. So I don't know.
But Lucy, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay to not have those skills, 100%.
Okay.
So I have a very large family. One of my sisters is a therapist. She's actually learning in this concept of Power Pages because she's opening up her own therapy company, and so Power Pages is how she's doing, because she needs a website, right? So she's learning how to do that through there, and she's not someone who, she scares me with a telephone sometimes. That's how technical she is, but it's one of those things that she's able to learn and do through this, and with some assistance, but learning and leveraging the community. that's how a lot of women are saying, like, hey, I can do this. Oh, you can do this. Let's partner. Boom. Now you've got a networking moment. Now you've got some kind of tribe, creation and village, because everything takes a village, let's be honest. So yeah, like we have lots of women who are coming in saying, I've never needed this, but now I can't ignore it. It's part of my everyday. How do I do this?
Yeah, thank you. That's really kind of you.
Of course.
It's
Thank you
really
so much for your question, Lucy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was great.
And thanks again, Danielle. And I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk to our next guest who's joining us. And I thank you so much, Danielle, for jumping in at front. And
Yeah.
thank you, Miri, for joining
Thank
us
you for
today.
having me.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move right over. Miri, again, thank you for joining us. I can't wait to hear from you on AI and what kind of impact that's having on this space we're talking about, which is women in tech and empowering women in this industry. So why don't you introduce yourself to this group? A lot of folks know you, but introduce yourself and let's get started on this side of the conversation.
Yes, thank you, Bobby, and thank you for having me. Apologies, I'm a little bit late. There's some little bit personal things going on, but here
No worries
I am.
at all. Yeah.
Thank you. And Danielle, I'd love to see you. Danielle and I are definitely running in the same circles, and we're tech royalty friends, is what I call ourselves, tech queens. So thank you for having me. My name is Miri Rodriguez. For some of you who may not know me, I work at Microsoft as well as a storyteller. So I love to see conversation around storytelling being important. It's something that I do every single day. I lead our storytelling machine, that's what I call it, in what we're calling today US SLED, which is state, local, and education, public sector industries in sales. So I'm in the sales function at Microsoft. And my job at Microsoft is to make sure that our stories are landing the way they need to with our customers. An example will be, we're trying to sell 17 co-pilots here. As Danielle said, we have a lot of products here that are co-pilot products. And there's an agency in state and local government that still hasn't modernized fully to be able to buy this product or these products. That's the bridge created in between. Hey, what are we saying to our customers? How does that make sense while we're offering all these great things that perhaps our customers are not ready yet to adopt or are on their journey to modernization. So that's just a simple way to say I turn stories into something that makes sense. I translate things that make sense. I translate technology to make sense to our customers. And that's something that I also have done for women. I do this in the sense of coaching and mentoring, and I've done this in personal branding. So I've been in tech for over 20 years, Microsoft 13. And in my journey, a lot of things that I began to learn, I was like, wow, there's a lot of things that are not just the technology, but the way we talk about it, the way that we teach it, it's not meant for women. It's not written for women. And when we think about, skilling abilities and anything like technology or personal branding, a lot of the content is not made for women. So as a writer, which I also am, I'm an author as well. I love it. I love to be able to just tell the stories in a way that I know as a woman, I can consume it. It is for me. I see where it's relevant and where I can use it. And now in the era of AI, I'm using this entire story that I am in my personal brand, and I am launching. We're soft launching a product called Empressa AI. It is something that for me, when I thought about my entire journey in tech, how can we leverage AI as an equalizer today to do exactly that with technology? I really believe that AI for women, it's going to be an equalizer if we make it that, if we own it, if we learn it, if we adopt it, if we skill up with it. But unfortunately, I'm learning that women are not adopting it as fast as I hoped we would. And that then creates a bigger gap, because then it's a brand new thing that we're all learning together. And if the women are staying behind, then we're just like historically we have, then it creates a bigger gap in the way that we approach technology. So for me, Empressa is that it's a bridge. I want to bring women in from multiple levels, and I want them to play as a sandbox in our technology. I want them to learn from it. I want them to, all the skepticism that we have, which is actually very real. I've done a lot of research on why we're skeptic to adopt technology and then adopt AI. It's a lot of different things. And we're multifaceted as women. So technology can be a great thing. A lot of times it's not made for women. And this time, I think if we adopt it and we make it ours, instead of actually adopting it, we lead it. We have that opportunity. So Empressa is a platform that is for women, and by women, basically for women leaders that have built their business, or that are seasoned leaders or thought leaders in their own space. Doesn't matter the industry. Those women are invited to actually join the platform and help us build the AI. Essentially, it's like a Chat GPT model, or like a GPT model, where you're chatting. On the back end, the women's senior leaders are actually embedding their insights, their wisdom, and the AI uses that, takes that when somebody asks a question here, a user, and it turns that insight into a story. So when the user says, "Hey, I'd like to learn more about how to scale my business with storytelling," someone like me, who is a seasoned leader in storytelling, and other women will show up and answer the question and say, "Hey, I'm Miri. I wrote a couple books about it, and I can tell you that in my experience, yada, yada, yada." So we're showing up as a council that is helping women early in career, women that are pivoting their career, women that are starting their own businesses. So it's this connection that the AI makes with seasoned leaders and their insights, and matches them, and it's a storytelling form. So it really, for me, it's a combination, a compilation of technology, storytelling, and women helping each other. And then we monetize it, because a lot of times we share and we give and we overgive, because that's who we are as women, and we love it. And then, a lot of times we lose because of that, because we're communal, and we lose ourselves, and we lose our energy, and we give so much and we overgive. So the idea here is that our users are going to pay a subscription, because they're connecting with these seasoned leaders, and the leaders get paid royalties every time the AI uses their insights to answer a question. All they have to do is put their insights once, and once that happens, the AI just every time will actually help answer a question, and they're basically making passive income in the back. So it's all combined. We really want to bring equality through multiple ways through AI, and that's economic equality for women, enabling them to monetize their wisdom. That is access through, you can access my wisdom 24/7. I can't scale myself. I wish I could, but I am limited. As you saw, my time is limited. And so it's all the things. It's all the things. And I hope that we can really help women across the board with this technology.
That's awesome. You said something that was so impactful, and so glad. I mean, you said a lot of things that are impactful, but one thing that stuck is just being on the precipice of AI becoming a thing, and being able to take that power back from a position you didn't have, from technology, from where women were in the 40s and 50s, when technology started to really, become a nugget of like, our current digital technology. And that, all those years, those decades of male dominance, and then feeling that kind of backseat position, that you've got this opportunity, and you're positioning, yourself and others to cross a bridge, to be powerful in the moment that it's happening. I mean, it gave me a little choked up just thinking about what that means. It just didn't hit me that way until you said that. So I appreciate that piece.
Bobby, I'll say something to that because I thank you for that. So let's think about the implications of industrial technology, just because you're talking about the impact for women. When we look at the history, I always think about, the car as a technology, as a machine, right? Built by a man, and for men, really. And so we are 100 and something years later, I think 120 years later, and the car has absolutely evolved, right? As a machine, as a technology. And 52%, I think it was last time I checked, let's just say 50% of users of that technology are women, right? So we're using cars, 50%. We are consumers of that technology. We're users of that technology. And here we are in 2025. The car has evolved. And still in 2025, I get in my car, I'm driving an SUV. I get in there every single day. I'm small, right? I'm small. And so I have to I have to adjust my seat to get to hold the steering wheel to be able to drive. Now that technology there of me being able to manage the machine, use the machine, actually, if I were to get into a car crash, it is more likely that I will hit myself on the steering wheel faster than the actual deployment of the airbag. Because today, in 2025, even though we've evolved the machine that was built by a man for men, the actual security measures are still, the standard is for men, for 6'1", 170 pounds, I think, dummy. So even though It's 2025. The actual machine is still not made for me. And chances are that I could be injured because I'm a woman or I'm smaller. And so this is when we talk about intersectionality, built in, not bolt on, this is what we're talking about in AI. If we don't do this today, the implications are, generational. Our generation, we're still trying to adapt a car to someone like me, 100 something years later, which is it's incredible.
Yeah.
And Miri,
go ahead, Jody, please. You jump in.
Do you have any insight? And this is actually a question from Marie, is on why women aren't adopting AI.
Absolutely. Yes. I've done a lot of research on this. And I will say actually there's a new product that Microsoft, I don't know if it's out yet, but if it does come out, I would really, really encourage all of you to use it. It's called Researcher. I don't know if they may change the name when it comes out. I don't know, Danielle, if you have insight on this from a product perspective, but from a Researcher is like an in-depth tool. Think of ChatGPT, but now you ask it to do a deeper research. Go on and do something. Basically, give me an insight report. Danielle, you came on camera. Do you have something to say about Researcher?
I'm an early adopter of it.
Okay.
And it is really good. And yes, there are some people who should already have access to it out there. So the only thing you have to pivot on this one, Marie, is it's not instantaneous because it is doing such a deep sink of things. Go get your coffee and come back to it. I have to tell a lot of people that it's not instantaneous.
But listen, it takes 10 minutes and those 10 minutes are glorious because it's no longer about quantity of time, is quality of the product, of the results you're going to get. So to your question, have I done research? Yes. And then I used Researcher and I get even more insights. Here's why women are not adopting AI immediately. Number one is we are nervous about the technology not serving us, but actually harming us. Why is that? Well, we come into the world already as a prey, right? We think about things subconsciously or even consciously that, hey, this technology could serve for, a malefactor to come and find out where I am, or take my insights, or whatever it could be. It could harm me physically or mentally. And the reason for that is we have history, right? That when we navigate our world, digital or physical, we are prey. We come in as prey, and so we could be preyed upon. So there is this insecurity that we have toward it on a harmful way, like it's not trustworthy to us. That's the first one. The second one is around how it will take over things that matter to us. We are relational. We are connected at the relational level. And when we see this automation that it can do for mundane things like, oh, I can use it to send a text to my son. No, I wanted to send that text to my son and I want to connect with my son. So it may seem irrational to somebody else, but to us, it's like, I don't want this robotic thing to take over what gives me value as a woman, which is very relational. We are not transactional, we're relational. So we are afraid that these automations will slowly take over our built community that we have created that is very valuable to us. The third one is around how it can eventually replace the things that for women are very natural to do and we fought to be. So when you think about the history of us coming into the workforce, yes, we started, let's talk about America's workforce, not worldwide, but in America's in the 40s, we enter the workforce, we begin to do, secretarial, administrative work. Then in other places, women were actually doing engineering work, which I love, but it was, 1%, 5%. But as we evolve and as we say, hey, we actually like to go to work. We don't just want to stay home. And we enter and we start kind of proliferating around in different industries, in different sectors, and in different levels of the organization. A lot of that work today is still administrative for women. Things like marketing, HR, sales in a specific form, a lot of that is usually women. And so when I say sales enablement is what I mean, because sales is a lot men. So we find that even though, it's been decades for us to integrate ourselves into the workforce and into the many levels of the workforce, we are still, there's a huge gap still. There's a huge gap in where we lead women leadership, and where we are in the sectors and in the verticals of an organization. What is happening is that the automation of these functions, when we talk about agents, that is happening. It's going and it's already impacting these very roles. So if you think about a marketing agent, an AI agent I'm speaking about, a marketing AI agent could actually perform a lot of the mundane operational work that a woman or that a marketer, which is a lot of them are women in an industry, that a marketer would do. So what is it happening? We are afraid that it's gonna take over what we're doing, because it's a lot of operational things that may be and could be honestly taken over by an agent. What I do tell women here is that if you enable yourself, if you skill up to make sure that you are actually on top of the technology to create your own agents, to manage your agent network, to say, hey, instead of hiring, uh, little marketers or contractors or whatever it would be, because we're headed that way, we're automating these workflows. I can create a workflow with AI that will do this part for me, and I can automate this function here, and I can do this output here. But I am in charge of it. I can't do it without me, right? Because I'm the one who's creating this army of AI agents in my marketing function, for example. So that is where women have not yet come into the idea that they can and they should own this technology in a way that they are creators of it, not just adopters of it. And there's a skepticism about how can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. And then with that comes the fear of not only I can't do that, but it may take over my job that I have today.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I just was going to ask, there's a couple of questions. One kind of far back up, but I wanted to get your thoughts on a person who wants to get in, but with all the multitasking that as a woman with family, career mentioned, where do they find the time? Like, what's that look like? Any thoughts, from the group, even if you're just going to share in the chat, to what you do to create time, or love to hear from you on that.
I'm going to share something very vulnerable. Actually, the reason I'm late, and it's actually it's interesting that I'm living something like this. I'm going through a medical journey. I have been for a few years. Most recently, I've been developing some symptoms, and it was a mix of things. It was what you call the perfect storm. Now, with my history, which is breast cancer, they have to take an in-depth look at a lot of things when I develop some kind of symptoms. Now, my first, I have a great team of doctors. My first doctor said, hey, I think it's this one thing. And let's go with that idea. Let's go with that theory, and let's do these tests around that theory. And I've been going this has been, this is recent. I'm still undergoing this process, but it's interesting because as we began to go down this road, which was very, I don't know if you've been through something such as cancer, chronic, whatever it is, it's very debilitating, because when you don't have a diagnosis, and you're developing symptoms, it's a thing of like, where's this going? Could I be cured? Could I be getting a medicine? And if you don't have a diagnosis, you can't. So I've been going through these few weeks of, I don't know what it is. And 4 doctors in, a great team. So many different labs. Now, it occurred to me, because Microsoft, and I'm not, I love Microsoft, I work for Microsoft, but just in general, the technology of AI today, think about women being misdiagnosed. I don't have the actual number to share with you, but please look it up. How many women are diagnosed on so many things that are multifaceted, because our technology, our medical technology, did not start testing on women or researching on women until 1983. So all the things that we can go to a doctor and they're like, their research paper is not as accurate because it's not for our biology. So here I am going through all this whole process. It occurs to me to go and use ChatGPT and say, here's all the labs that I'm getting. As I was getting results, here's the next result. Here's the next result. Here's the next result. The possibilities were dire and horrible. And I was like, please, rule this out, right? And I see this, I'm having a conversation with my Dr. GPT as I'm also having conversations with my actual doctors. As a woman, if I had this technology 10 years ago, I had endometriosis. It was never, ever diagnosed. I was told that my bleeding was stress. That's it. I had stress. And I was like, no, it can't be. 10 years until I had a hysterectomy, and they realized I have stage 3 with endometriosis. Now I'm here and I know better, right? And I'm like, let me throw this stuff to AI and see what it does. By the time my final lab had not come back. I just said, here's my lab. It had given me 3 possibilities. This week, early, my doctor called and said, this is where we're going with this. This is our theory. And it was the best outcome, actually, which I'm glad to say. AI had already said that's probably your leading cause of when you give me all of these symptoms. So when you think about this technology as an enabler, as and an equalizer for women, it is beyond just chatting and saying, hey, can you do this for me? It is something that you can enable for yourself as a woman to do things that historically society has not done for us. It has not served us in so many ways. And now we can actually enable it. Again, learn it. Understand it. A lot of you are like, oh, well, I'm not going to go put my medical records out there. No, there's ways that you can actually get your paid version and make sure that you're not telling it exactly who you are or being general with your prompts. So there's so many ways that you can start really playing with it to understand its capabilities.
Thank you. I appreciate the share. That's a it's a tough share, but a powerful one for folks. I mean, I've been on a medical journey with a chronic disease, and I found out early on that the more I share, the better. I mean, there was a point at which you decide, do I want to open up and be vulnerable to a group? And once you do, it becomes more and more powerful. So I appreciate that share in the moment. Yeah. And I think the takeaway I'm getting to, just to kind of round out that question, is that in some way, the answer is you make time. I think there's places where you find time, and it's so important that you look and figure out where you can just, even if it's just a little bit, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think that was the other thing I was thinking about. If I'm a person, even myself, like thinking about how to get into AI, it's like where do you start? You got to start small. So always start at whatever level you can consume in the moment you can consume it. And that way you at least getting your foot in, and then you'll consume more and listen and follow people like Miri and Danielle and all the others that are on. Just keep adding pieces, because it'll start to add up, and you'll realize soon you're really far down the path. So you just make the time, I think, is what I'm hearing, because it's that important.
Thank you, Bobby, for rounding it up. Yes, you are already here, so you've made time. All of you are here, and your time is precious, and your energy is precious. So thank you for having this conversation. Beyond that, something as simple as signing up for news about AI and start learning about what's happening in this space. For joining circles like Danielle's, circle, like communities on LinkedIn, communities, and you just consume it. You don't have to be active. Everybody's super busy, but as you consume it, as you start to learn about it, think about the ways that it can serve you. And if it doesn't serve you, build something that does with it, which is what I'm doing with Empressa. If you see, today, the opportunity is we're all starting with it, and nobody is ahead of us. We're all getting started. So nobody's ahead, and you have an opportunity. Nobody could say, I'm a guru. If they're saying I'm a guru, they're lying. Don't believe them. So you can become a guru like they can become a guru in the next few months. Skill up, learn. Actually, we are going to Empressa. This is a very sneak preview. I have not announced this yet, but Empressa will be actually delivering a skill up event for women in September. We're going to host it, and we're going to give women AI Essential certificates. And this is actually something that has not yet been seen before, because as a researcher, as a techie, and as a storyteller, the content that is out there right now that exists today, it's not made for women. Even content that is hosted by women, it's a rinse and repeat of AI fundamentals. And so I love it. I've done it. I'm not certified, but I know that we can do more to make it for women, that they can consume it in a way that matters to them. So stay tuned for that. I would love to have you all there and get a certification. And it'll be live as well, so you can ask live questions, which is important to us. This is where it's, again, what exists today. You don't have to say this is for me. If it's not for you, change it, right? I don't like how people are teaching AI. Okay, teach it differently. Learn it and teach it differently. I don't like it doesn't exist for therapists. Okay, then create it for therapists. So that's the way you got to start thinking about this technology as an enabler for all of us and an equalizer.
Great. That sounds like a great event. I'm excited to see that pop up. I did put the link to Empressa in here. It's a few clicks up. So you can scroll back up, or it's easy. It's Empressa.ai. So that's an easy one. So you can just find it out on the web that way, and keep an eye out for that skill up event. It sounds like just a great opportunity. You spoke of questions, having live opportunity. We've got a great opportunity with both you and Danielle and Marie. We've got a lot of smart people on the line with us. Any questions is I'd love to get to the book too, because we want to give away a few copies of what looks to be an awesome book coming up in the next few weeks, dropping out there. So that's exciting too. So yeah, it looks like Rachel, you can come off mute and ask your question if you want. Rachel Erebors got her hand up.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this was an amazing session. So my name is Rachel. I have a question on storytelling. So right now, I'm currently building my skills on storytelling. And I don't know if it makes sense to like, I understand for having a mentor, you can have a mentor to get a technical skill. You can have a mentor for public speaking. But does it make sense for storytelling? Because I'm trying to work on my storytelling skills. That's my
Danielle,
question. Thank you.
yeah, Danielle, do you wanna share something? I'll go after.
So yeah, I mean, I think storytelling is absolutely becoming more of our forefront, right? Because one thing I have recognized in this space is that think of the people that you're actually willing to listen to again, right? People who are on stage doing TED Talks, things like that. I actually watched a TED Talk where the guy jokingly, literally told you nothing, but the way that he did it was emphasizing different words, taking dramatic pauses, and he actually said, I'm going to do a whole TED Talk that actually tells you nothing. And it was just the way that he did it that still made everybody stay seated and enjoy the conversation. And so I think storytelling is actually going to be one of our big new breakthrough moments, that if we can get more women to get this skill, you're going to have more voices out there. You're going to have more people who are going to be leaning in and want to actually be part of it, versus I show up and I just kind of tell you everything because I'm just so excited, which by the way, I am, but it's how do we nurture that and how do we start gaining it? So look forward to that and some of the mentoring program stuff that we will be offering, because we are going to be pivoting pretty hard on how do you get storytelling and how do you really start building that muscle.
I love that, Danielle. I'll share this, and Bobby, thank you for sharing the book, which I'm excited about. Storytelling is actually one of our superpowers as women. Before it was called storytelling, we sat and we shared, and we do go to the cafe and say, how was your day? And we tell a story about it. That's how we communicate. So you already have it. That's an innate thing that you have. It's remembering how to use it in places that enable you and empower you, whether it's business, that's in your career, that's in, you're pitching something, whatever it is. It's really how to take something that's already innately yours, that comes natural to us as women. We speak a lot more than men. I don't know, it's like 20,000 words more per day or something. We can tell stories. I tell you that. In fact, the book is that we're sharing here. It's stories of 50 women, and I could tell you during the interviews, and connecting with them, I know that a lot of them were like, I can never tell a story. I'm like, oh yeah, just tell me about this. And they did. And here we are, they're published, because that's how we do it. So let's remove that stigma about it's a big thing that I have to learn up there. It's more of like, how do I enable something that's already inside me with the tools that I'm being given and activate it in a space that I'm not used to? And that really comes from confidence. It's like, I'm going to go in and tell the story because I know the story matters. And a lot of times we're like, will this story matter? Does it really matter? It matters. It matters. Your story is conventional wisdom plus your wisdom attached, and that is powerful. So if you say, I want to tell a story about how I do therapy, how I do tech, how I do marketing, anybody could be like, well, you could just Google it. No, nobody has your experience about how you do marketing, how you have an insight in that process of what you discovered while you were doing marketing. And so that's the story. That's what makes it valuable. Is not mundane by any means. It's a new insight that I didn't have before I saw your story. Story is something that you can't Google, right? You can't Google that unless you tell it. And so you have that power. And so for me, it really starts with, if you want to walk out with something, how do I get started today? Right? Your origin story. What is your story? My story, I began with a blank sheet of paper. I put one date, the date I was born, a data point there. Microsoft were data driven, very data driven. And so I was like, let me create my data base for my story. And I began with literally a blank sheet of paper, and I started basically putting dots. I was born, what's my next memory? What's my next memory? And I began to really create this kind of crazy line graph of memories, core memories, whether it was a scent or a moment, leading all the way up to back then my present. And what happened was magical. I began to see, because data speaks, moments, and I began to see patterns in my data. For example, one of the things is when I was 7 years old, it was a memory I didn't have immediately, but it came to me. I wanted to write a poetry book. I got in trouble with my mom because I stole from her a composition book and to write a poetry book. And I was like, wow, I didn't remember that. Why is that data point very important? Because years later, decades later, I become a published author. And when the publisher comes to me and says, write a book, I'm like, no, I'm not a writer. And my data point said, yes, you are. At 7 years old, you could have been playing outside, but you were writing instead. So that is, your story is the main story. It's the main character story. So start with that. Start with writing your story. That's just an idea of how to do it. Get other ideas, feel into it intuitively, but just get yourself out there. How to tell a story? By telling the story.
I hear that. It's funny. It's just a side correlation, but we do a lot of we're 60 user groups locally that meet monthly, and we're always looking to meet on site. And one of the number one things I hear when I talk to somebody like, hey, Jody, can we meet at your place? And they're like, oh, our place is boring.
Yeah.
But even like your organizational origin story is exciting to everybody.
Everybody.
So your origin story is yours, and it's unique.
It's yours.
And people are gonna gravitate towards it when you learn it with passion and tell it with passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you will tell it with passion because it's yours, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You don't have to fake that. It's your story. Yeah.
Yep. Is there a number to call to enroll? Lucy, I'm not sure what you mean for the for Empressa or for Danielle's Women in Power, or just this movement we've created about the origin story.
Yeah, I just went to all the links, and it looks like I'm getting access to the platforms, but is there like someone I can just talk to see how I get involved, who my mentor's going to be, how this works?
I'm going to put my email address here for Empressa. So what I would like to do, absolutely, just send me an email, and I'll have my team, so specifically for Empressa, I'll have my team, if you're interested, to actually, we're gonna send you a link to invite you to join the platform, and my team will take care of all your questions. We have an FAQ and all of that, so you can ask all the questions there. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure, Lucy. My pleasure.
Any other questions?
Sorry, and then for the Women in Power, you can message us on LinkedIn, and that's a way that we'll monitor that one, so you can connect with us too if you're looking on the Women in Power mentoring side. So always happy to have the one-on-one conversations. That's something we don't want to get away from with AI, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Accessibility is very
important. Humans still need humans, but yeah.
And by the way, Empressa will have, if you join, a monthly connection, live connection with experts. So it's not just like the GPT model where you're just talking to the AI and drawing the stories. Once a month, we all meet like this with the experts, and you get to ask all kinds of questions.
And you get goosebumps every time because there's something that someone says, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like we're on the precipice of something even more. So shout out to actually having, not only is it tech enthralled, but the human element is not being forgotten. I can't tell you how many times, even with Women in Power, I get to meet somebody at a conference and I've locked eyes with a woman across the room, knowing that we've never met in person, and then we're both like crying in the middle of an expo, hugging.
Absolutely.
You will find me crying probably somewhere at least once during the conference, because I've made a connection with someone that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only known you from being on the screen, or I know your story and your origin, and I know what it took to get you here.
And that story again.
Yeah, like that to me, I think, is why this passion comes, to your point. Like we not only are excitable, but there's so much just like innately passion, like movement to this. Is like, I get to be seen, but I also get to see somebody else that didn't think they would ever be seen. And you just have this like very human moment. And I had this woman come to me who had sent a message and said, I really want to go to the conference, but I've never traveled solo. ever in my life, and this is a big thing because I'm going across countries, and I said, we'll be there. I'll be there. Like, I'll hold your hand, girl. Like, let's go. And so I saw her across the conference expo, and I immediately saw who it was, and she saw me, and like both of us just like walked to each other like, come here. I'm sure everyone around us was like, what is happening? We're like, get out of the way, like I'm elbowing through people. But to know that she also is a mom of 4. I have 4. That's a lot. Don't do it. It's chaos, guys. Actually do it. It is chaos. But
it's beautiful chaos.
I do. I thrive in chaos. But knowing that she has 4, and her story was that she was a really good mom and a really good wife, and that was it. That's what she had just put her energy into, and now her kids don't need her every day like they used to. And she's like, what do I do now? Where is my life? Who am I? And she is finding the technology and like all this other stuff, and like this is all new to her, and she's in her 40s, and she's like, I've got to have a career. I've got to find, like, I need a purpose. And just, again, yes, technology's there. We're taking advantage of those things, but it's the human of finding this woman blossoming and a voice. Like, the first time I talked to her, she was barely above 1 decimal. Like, I'm a loud person, but like she had a hard time even just speaking out loud. And then we graduate to her flying multiple countries over to be in person at a conference that has 3,000 people at it. Like, those are the moments. That's why we're here. That's why it's worth the investment, because you get these human moments and you get to be part of that journey. Oh, mom of 5, girl. Like, no, 4.
Previously a mom of 9, foster care. I love it. So wonderful.
Oh,
wow.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. I love it.
Any other questions out there? Jody, we have anything else in chat? I've been kind of soft monitoring too. I didn't see anything. A lot of comments, a lot of people feeling empowered and appreciating the conversation for sure.
Very much so. It's been great. Very uplifting and exciting. Like, I feel energized.
And Jody, I wondered, your all capitalization yes around storytelling. Does that tie into what you do in your personal life, in your recreation kind of scene, and being a part of that, kind of like, revolutionary set?
Well, so for most of you who don't know me, I do 18th century reenactment. So primarily French and Indian War, but with the 250th anniversary coming up, we've been doing some more Revolutionary War stuff. And actually, what it reminds me of is there's also a big Native presence culture in the reacting that we do, because they were a huge part of it, right? I mean, we celebrate this great thing that we did as Europeans to collectively put everyone in a group, but we haven't put a lot of energy towards the people that were already here and what the first settlers learned, right? The first people who came to this country adopted a lot of that lifestyle, right, on how to survive. But the storytelling, women are the holders of the story. When you look at all of the Native cultures that I've looked at, the origin story all starts with Mother Earth, right? They all have a little bit different take on the story, but all of that knowledge, all of that power is held within a female entity, if you will. And that's where all of the stories spring from. And I think we can capture that back.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. I wanted to give you the opportunity to share that, because that's kind of what I thought just in general, that this is where, there's the genesis in this and that, and you were kind of feeling that as part of your experience.
Yeah.
And I would take a moment too, just to introduce Jody. Diverse Minds is something that was created out of a passion, not just mine. I really had to focus on women in tech in what I wanted to do with some podcasting and some uplifting, but Jody Kronk and Robin Fennell, who I'm not sure is on with us, Taylor Dorward, who's an accessibility advocate. Robin is an advocate of LGBTQ. Mark Epicella. So we've got a group of people that are together with us in Diverse Minds that are putting this on every month. So I just want to make sure I was shouting out to them. I got so excited in the beginning, I ran right past it, but it was a perfect time to make sure everybody knew who is helping kind of keep our conversation going in diversity.
And it really fits in with everything that we're talking about today by empowering AI, by mentorships. Is we are all better through inclusivity,
Yeah.
right? The more different people that you can interact with, and different from you in any way, whether it's gender, skin color, background, ability, anything, makes you a richer, more in-depth person, more able to solve problems. There's tons of I did a presentation 2 years ago on how much stronger teams are and how much more viable the results are a team comes up with when they're diverse members. And that diversity takes like a socioeconomic background, educational background. Adding a woman to your team, an older woman who's re-entering the workforce, who has run a household, that is an invaluable perspective on your team when you're trying to solve a problem.
100%. Awesome. Miri, did you have anything else?
Let them get sane again is all I structure that with.
Yeah.
Because I took 4 years off and I came back and I was a little bit of a feral cat for a little bit and then reacclimated to Gen Pop and was fine. So
have you seen the meme that is, now that I know if the term domestic housewife exists, that means that there's a feral housewife and I have a new goal.
Yeah.
That's funny. Anything else to wrap us up, Miri? We want to have time just to, again, it looks like we don't have any other questions, but excited and just want to give you the opportunity to wrap up and then we'll give away a couple books that we'll ship out once they are released. We'll get everybody's information and get those shipped out, and can't wait to read it myself either. So
thank you for the space, and thank you for having me again. It's been such a pleasure to connect with all of you, and I want to remind each and every one of you of your incredible divine nature that it is being a woman. It has so much power inside you to do and to create. We are life givers, and whether that's an actual baby or an idea, we have it inside us to give something, and we are communal in essence, which means that when we give something, it serves not just ourselves, society at large. And so don't shut that down. Don't shy away from it. Whatever it is that you're seeing in yourself and your mission and your purpose to give to yourself and to society, go out and do it. And if now in this era of AI, it can be a scaling source, a more powerful source for you to scale that, do it, learn it, because it can be and it should be for you. So have courage. I'm not taking away the skepticism that we have for it and the fear. It is real, and that's okay. Embrace that. It's okay. But courage is that you're going to go do it in spite of the fear, because you have something bigger than the fear, and that is your legacy. That is your purpose. So if you have that in you, and if you want to scale it and you want to learn it, please do. Please reach out to me if you have questions. At Empressa, we have a team that can really, help all of us to adopt it, to play with it, to learn from it. And so that's why we're creating this. By the way, we are self-funded. So I'm burning through my money because it's not about money. It's about women. And for me, it's like, I could be using that money to be in Italy, spitting wine and minding my own business. But I feel called to do the very thing that for me has, in my own story, my origin story tells me that for a long time, technology has not been for me, and we've had to adopt it and adapt to it. And now we don't have to. Now we can lead with it. And that's why I'm leading with it. And I hope that you will too.
Thank you. That's awesome. Great way to wrap up. Jody, do we have the names? Are we ready? Have we got a little spinner wheel, right? Yeah. Do you have the spinner wheel, or do you need to shoot it?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Then you can share if you want to.
Yep. Find my button. Okay. I'm pretty sure I got everybody on there. I was kind of adding everybody as we went. And I think there's probably a few people who may have dropped off, but we're going to leave them on the list anyway, because we can reach out and find them.
We surely can. Yep.
Let's spin it.
Here we go. CK.
Okay, our first winner, CK Cirillo. And Bobby, do you want how do we want to get shipping information?
Yeah, so CK, if you're online, you can just I'm going to put my email in, and we can chat offline to get your information.
The other thing too is we can post this the two winners, and that they should email you with
you bet
shipping information in the follow up on Meetup.
Yep, that's a good idea too. Yep, we'll just put it in the Meetup too.
Okay, second one.
We're missing the sound effect. Tick, 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 tick.
Oh, it's
tick,
it's playing
tick,
on mine.
Tick. There we go. Terry O'Connell.
Terry O'Connell.
Nice, thank you.
Awesome. You know what? I'm feeling it, Jody. Let's do one more, just for the fun of it. Yeah. I mean, I want to get this book out there, so I feel like we got to at least do one more. Yeah. I want to make the sound effect again. Tick, 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 just for fun.
There we go.
Woo! Awesome.
Valid.
Plus, we had a few minutes left anyway. So yeah. That's great. So yeah, so if you've got my email in there, we'll grab these folks' names, and we'll contact you through the Meetup platform as well, just to get you this copy. I'm excited, and wow, I think I heard it or saw it 1,000 times over. What an empowering hour and a half. I really appreciate Danielle and Miri and all of you making the time to be with us this morning and an evening wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
And hope you'll join us again next month. We'll do it all over again with a different topic and a different group of folks. So.
And thank you, Bobby. I put it in the chat. Thank you for being a champion and ally for women. You being here, you enabling this space, you bringing us together. It's so powerful. You're speaking with your actions. And I love that so much, because it is people like you that enable people like us. I have to say, at Microsoft, all of my mentors were actually men, and they enabled me. And it's actually because women wouldn't mentor me, by the way. That's another story. But thank you. Thank you for being, and thank you for creating a space that we can come together in this platform. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Totally echo what Mary's saying. Like, this is how we continue. This is how we make these villages even bigger. So thank you for this. It's huge. It's a great way to start the day. Lots of coffee already in me. So who knows what kind of chaos I'll make today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Jody, anything before we wrap up?
No, Joelle, we have recorded, and we'll get that recorded to Madison, so we can get it up on the YouTube channel, and hopefully even more people will benefit from the conversation.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I'll talk to Madison, maybe a replay, even just a scheduled replay where we can get it out and schedule it for a different time period during the day. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, ladies, so much. This was an amazing call and just a great way to start the morning. So really appreciate your time and your insight, and looking forward to taking everything that you said and sharing it with more people.
Thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.